So after a lot of talk, they've finally done it. MPs in the UK have voted to make a football regulatory board that will oversee the top 5 divisions of English football, so the Premier League, the EFL, and also the National League. All 5 top divisions in England will be monitored by this board. Is this going to be a good thing though? Is this going to be a positive? Or is it going to add more red tape to what is already a very bureaucratic environment? Let's have a look, guys. I've got a full article here on thefootballchronicle.com with all the information that you need, and then I'll give my thoughts at the end of the video as always. So England's top 5 divisions will soon have a watchdog overseeing their financial health, as MPs in Westminster voted 415 to 98 in favour of the Football Governance Bill, paving the way for the creation of an independent regulator. The bill, which is backed by cross-party support at its third reading, is now to become law. A standalone governing body distinct from both government and football's own authorities will take on this oversight role. The legislation's central aim is stability. The government argues that it will protect football clubs and uphold financial sustainability. Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy said, "I am proud to be part of a winning team that has put our fans back on the pitch and at the heart of the game, where they belong." Originally floated back in March 2024 by the previous Conservative administration, the bill stalled when this general election was called in May. Labour reintroduced it in July 2024 after forming a government. Before the vote, Nandy directly addressed supporters in her remarks to the Commons, saying, "We are doing this for you because for too long you have been treated as an afterthought at best or a nuisance at worst in a game that is only great because of you. This is for Macclesfield, for Wigan, for Bury, for Bolton, for Derby, for Reading, for Sheffield Wednesday," I knew I didn't like this bill, "for Morecambe, and for many, many more who have had to endure the misery of being put last when they should be put first." Louis French, who is the Shadow Minister for Sport, threatened to revisit the legislation structure should the Tories return to power. A future Conservative government will trigger a review of Labour's regulator as soon as possible, he said. So not very soon. Meanwhile, campaign group Fair Game welcomed the result, calling it a historic step forward for our national game. The group said, "Now at long last we are firmly on the path for a fairer future for football." And then there's just some information below there, guys. I mean, I already covered this in my video yesterday, going over the free-to-air thing for the Premier League. I mean, that was very short-lived. You know, people were saying that it might happen. We might get some games free-to-air from the Premier League. I said straight away, it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's pretty much been voted down, so it's not going to be possible now. So, yeah, what do I think about this football governing body? Well, in theory, it sounds like a good thing. I mean, take the example of the television revenue, the distribution of television revenue between the Premier League and the EFL. They have been at loggerheads about that for a long time, and it kind of needed a third party to come in and basically sort it out, you know. Someone who is meant to be neutral to give a fair deal, because two parties are unable to come to a reasonable deal. They are wanting vastly different things, basically. It's like mediation or something like that at that point. I mean, it literally is. You know, you're getting a third party into trying to, you know, come to a reasonable conclusion to things. So in that sense, it could be good. But on the other hand, on the other side of things, there is the pessimist kind of view that it will basically stifle the Premier League's growth. It will destroy why the Premier League has been so successful, is so financially rich. I mean, you've got clubs like Bournemouth and Brentford that are tiny clubs relatively, that are able to outspend some of the biggest clubs in Europe historically. And that's because the Premier League has been so good at negotiating its television rights and redistributing the wealth evenly amongst all the 20 clubs. You know, it's something that has really worked for them, and it's taken football in England from being one of the best leagues in the early 90s, you know, a long way behind the likes of Serie A, to now being the unquestioned dominant force in world football. So, you know, you have to look at that and think, why go changing it? But at the end of the day, the Premier League is not perfect. There are a lot of problems that we talk about nowadays about how modern football is not what it used to be, how the, you know, erosion of competition, you know, you'll never get a side now getting promoted and challenging for, you know, the top 5 like Ipswich Town did 25 years ago. You know, Leeds, they won what was the first division, what is now the Premier League, for the, you know, the last one of those in 92 after being promoted a couple seasons ago from the second division. Now it's gone so far that teams from the Championship cannot survive, or at least it seems almost impossible that they can. None of the previous 6 sides that have been promoted from the Championship have survived. They've all gone straight down. And the 3 that have come up this time, they've got a hell of a job on to do it. So there are problems there. And, those clubs that they mention, the clubs that she mentioned in her kind of bill there at the end, their speech, there are situations where this governing body may help out. There are some where it may not. I mean, you look at some of the ownership things. I think that's probably the biggest thing here, right, that this is trying to do. Sort out the ownership situation, because at the end of the day, this fit and proper person test does not work, because the likes of Dai Young at Reading, the likes of Defon Chansiri at Sheffield Wednesday, clearly not fit owners of football clubs. I know Young has now moved on, but it's taken years to get him out. And it's going to be the same story for Chansiri as well, unless someone else steps in. So we'll have to see if that makes a kind of difference. As you guys know, right now, I'm absolutely fine with what Sheffield Wednesday are doing, but in all seriousness, I do actually feel sorry for their fans, and there's a lot of clubs that have just gone by the wayside completely. You look at Bolton almost going to oblivion, Derby County, Bury did go to oblivion. They're back now in like the 8th, 7th tier of English football. It's going to be a long, long time till they get to the Football League, let alone getting back to, the 3rd division where they were before. So, yeah, I think it could be a good thing, but overall, when the government steps in with things, it doesn't really improve much. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this a change for good? Is it for the worse? I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always if you want to see more news like this, and have a fantastic day wherever in the world today, and we'll see you very soon.